From the banks of the Allegheny, welcome to Film Bits, True Detective, Episode 4, final part of Episode 4. All right, so after here, we are going to be at the end of Episode 4. Let's do a quick recap on the things we learned in this episode, some of the big facts and plot elements that have happened to make sure that you remember. Remember, we started out learning about Rianne Olivier, who was a girl found in a river who had a boyfriend named Reggie Ledoux, and he used to be a cellmate of Dora Lang's ex-husband, Charlie Lang. And so the guys went to talk to Charlie Lang about Reggie Ledoux. And then Charlie Lang talks about Carcosa and the Yellow King. And there was a place out in the woods with all these old stones. And he said that Reggie said there was so much good killing down there. And we learned that Reggie had a brand on his back, like in a spiral, which we saw on the back of Dora Lang, and which we saw in episode 2 when they get to the old broken down church. Rust has a hallucination of a bunch of birds in the sky going into that shape. Charlie also mentioned a dude by the name of Tyrone Weems, who was an associate of Reggie Ledoux, and Marty gets info by tailing a girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, that was the stripper. He finds Tyrone Weems at a rave, talked about a lot of yellow light there, and learns that Reggie has been making drugs for a motorcycle gang based out of Texas called the Iron Crusaders. Turns out Russ used to work with this biker gang when he was undercover narco. He has a plan, even though this is totally off the books and less than legal. Russ goes back into Rust mode of a few years back. He's drinking. He'll be taking drugs. He has the cool Iron Outlaws jacket, and he's going to penetrate the gang, which he does. And he encounters his old friend Ginger. Ginger and him make a deal. Ginger introduces Rust to Reggie Ledoux if Rust helps Ginger knock off a drug house in the projects. And that's where we are right now. So let's pick it back up with the disguised bikers approaching the projects.
Go make some more shit.
There hasn't been a ton of music or diegetic sound here, but we get a lot here, building up that tension. Ginger sizing up Rust, making sure he's ready. Rust, who's on however many kinds of drugs, showing that he's ready. Oh yeah, and we're going to get that lovely, well, I'll take it up at 8 minutes, continuous shot. It may even start before then, but we'll pick it up at 8 minutes. When we have 8 minutes left in the episode. Which is actually pretty close to right here. Maybe we'll go more for 6 or 7 minutes. Because it definitely starts when Rust is inside. Okay, now we're on a Steadicam. Tracking here. And a push. Tracking stopped and went to a push. That's an interesting push. It pushed to the back and then came up the profile. All right, now we are on a handheld, and we are moving. Look at Rust. He's got to be rough. He's got to show that he's one of these dudes, not a cop. Notice the handheld going with Rust all the time. All right, so we're going to call this the start, even though it happened before, of the continued shot. There will not be one edit from this point on. And the handheld, pivot to the boy playing the video game. So it'll be all one continuous shot. That's going to be achieved by the handheld inside the apartment. And then when we get back outside, we're going to do a few different things. That's Russ protecting the boy. This is such... it took them, I think, 3 to 4 takes to do this. One mistake and it's all over. Between the lighting, between the blocking, between the dialogue. Lots of things to make a continuous shot of this length work. Handheld pivot. Follows in, close-up of the hands. All of this, again, being done by the handheld. We're not on the sticks or the tripod. Quick whip out to where Rust is. This camera is very active. Not following one person, it's roaming around a lot. A lot of action. Giving us the feeling of chaos. Giving us a full take. Giving us points of view as well. Right now we're looking at Rust. We could just as easily be Rust's point of view in a few moments. Rust is trying to keep him calm. Still haven't had a cut. Still haven't had an edit. Rust is definitely our focal point. We're kind of using him as a fulcrum and bouncing back and forth between Ginger and the other bikers. Now we slightly pivoted over to the door, back to the window where things are coming through. Well, so much for that. Oh, love that. That would be diegetic sound because it's the ring in Rust's ears due to the gun and the muffled shotgun. Now Rust knows it's all going to hell now. Takes a peek outside. Pop back in. Still with the handhold. Oh, now the jig is up. Got to get out of here. See ya, Ginger. Takes care of that guy. Still with the handheld. And now we're outside. Now we're really moving. Now we've got extras running around. Now we've got a chopper. We've got the light of a chopper. Quick pan up, and it's at this pan I think that we might change onto a more stationary camera. Yeah, that's a stationary camera and push. It might be a handheld. Hard to tell. We are kind of coming in on it. Without the edit, it's probably still a handheld. Not sure, to be honest. This is definitely a handheld, for sure. There may have been a little switching going on in there, although I don't know how they could do it without the edit. Nice spin around on Rust. We see Ginger's got a nice little knot and blood on his head. Calling in the cavalry. See ya, Ginger. And Rust isn't even concerned. He just wants to make sure Marty has it. Now we go back out. Timing. Had to be perfect, as does that. As does that kick or bat. All of this stunt work, all of this action has got to be perfect or else they're retaking this whole thing from the start. Now here we might be on a track, now that we're outside. We might be tracking at this point. We're not inside with that handheld. Notice the pace has slowed down, so we could be on a bigger camera right here. That's just running either a Steadicam that's being pushed around or a camera on actual tracks. Pan and pivot to the right, through the close. Yeah, I don't think we're on a handheld anymore. It's a little smoother. Nice again. We're getting these little 180 and 90 degree pivots here. And the camera is just kind of doing this weird thing. It's not keeping Rust totally in center frame. It's kind of lollygagging, putting him a little to the right or a little to the left. Now we're running on the tracking shot behind the building. We're not with Rust. We're with the drug house. Pop back in. Now we're going to pop back out, which lets us know we're probably not dealing with the handheld because we would need the handheld to go in and out of those halls probably and be so crowded. Again, no edits. This is all perfect, going off like clockwork, all this stuff. The lighting, the blocking, the movement, the timing. And Rust is, I'm not engaging with any of the plot. I'm looking at all the technical stuff here. Camera rising up. Maybe a bit of a crane right there, rising up with both of those characters as they rise up the fence. Drop the camera back down. Dragon Ginger. Where they stop, nobody knows. Again, you see how Rush is kind of pushed to the right as the camera comes up, and there's Marty. Get in there. Boom, boom. And that was it. That was our first edit when we cut to Rust in the backseat. So all of that time, nothing but continuous motion. Just beautiful. It's hard to notice sometimes, but the effect and the feeling, we felt that chaos, we felt that tension. What's around this corner? Russ stopping and hiding. All of that is achieved without having the edits, because things are in, it's like a continuous flow of water. There are no breaks, there are no dams. There's nothing to slow the water. It's continually flowing. So they've now taken Ginger for a hostage. Lovely helicopter shot here. The cops have come in. We've got all kinds of residents of the hood here. Music picking up towards the end, which we know signals the end of the episode because that's the way it usually works for this show. And we don't get a ton of music, particularly at volume, on the interior. Love that shot of the chopper. And that's it. Episode 4 is history. Woo! I mean, I talked all the way through that because most of that was tracking shot. All right. So, where are they going? What are they doing? They got Ginger as a hostage. Russ didn't have to kill anybody. He did have to watch someone be killed and just deal with it. And great episode. Just jacked full of tension and excitement and speed and motion at the end there. For one half of True Detective's 8 episodes are done. I hope the saddle isn't getting too itchy. I hope you're still along for the ride. We'll be back with episode 5, part 1, sooner rather than later. Take care, y'all, and have a good night. Bye-bye.